So today is July the 16th. We're a couple of days after the president having again put the country down into a lockdown. And we have seen that the Airbnb travels have again just restricted a bit. We're currently on level 3, which just means that essential services and business travel accommodation is still possible. And I am still looking at how we can tweak and attract, obviously, guests to come to our apartments, and so that we can keep occupation rates high and to obviously cover the costs. And although I'm going to share this in the context of the current pandemic, the actual strategies that I'm using are strategies that you could use at any stage throughout the tourist season, throughout any season, whether it's high tourist or not, low season or not, business or not, because the strategies are the same. We always want to get a sense of what is currently happening around us. We want to see what our competition is doing. And of course, we want to adjust and pivot our strategy so that we can maximize the advantage of what's going on. So as we know that generally over 60% of the Airbnb bookings come within the 6 days prior to the actual booking night taking place, which means that there is this always kind of like last minute, in the next few days, we're going to see it book up. Obviously now on COVID, we're seeing this is changing down to 2 days. So most of our bookings are coming 2 days in advance prior to them booking, which means we kind of really need to be on it because people are waiting until the last minute to actually make a booking. Now, again, I want to state that the strategies we're using can be applied at any stage, and it's not just specific to the pandemic. If anything, the pandemic actually shows how the strategies are working and how we want to take advantage of it. It's not saying that this is specific to the pandemic. So in my unit at the moment, I have obviously got open space in front of me if most of our guests are just booking a day or two in advance. So this is what I'm doing today just to check the current scenario and the current situation. So what I do is I want to go online to have a look to see what is going on. What is the price of my competition around me? Because in a situation like this, I want to make sure that I'm the same as or below so that I can be chosen first. We know that in South Africa, most Airbnb guests are choosing on price first. In other words, they're saying, which is the cheapest place for me to go? And sometimes if there were 2 units that were 10 Rand apart, and even though the one looked better, for some reason, they still seem to choose the one that is 10 Rand cheaper. So we want to bear that in mind. So we want to make sure then that we are going to be chosen because of price according to our competition around us. And of course, we also want to know that we're coming up first in our listings in the area, because that's what's going to make people see us and want to take advantage of it. So what I've done is I've gone and actually said that let's take a look at this, my competition in the units around me, which is Eden on the Bay, as you can see. And I've just said 2 different check-ins, which would be tomorrow, because today is the 16th. And I said, please search in the area. And as you can see, it actually came up that here we are in the whole area. You can see there's a fair amount of competition that I have around here in Eden on the Bay. If I go in even more, you'll actually see that there'll be more that kind of start showing up. There we go, we can see. And as you can see on this side, here I am first. Again, my title is strong. It is speaking to people. Of course, I also have shown in my advanced course how to create that little GIF there. But again, you can see that this is really coming up first and highlighting what I'm wanting. And there are a couple of things that I want to share. Firstly, of course, I've got Superhost here, which is always great, but then so does everyone else. But take a look, a rare find, right? This place is usually booked. We're in the middle of lockdown. We're 100 days into lockdown, and it's still saying that. Why? Because it's true that this is a rare find. Usually I have booked up the whole time. This is the first time today that I do not have a booking tomorrow or the next day, which is why I'm coming back and saying, okay, what do I need to tweak? So that just goes to show you. As you can see, no other rare finds here. It is really this one which is standing out. And again, you can see straight away, it stands out of all these pictures on the page as the number 1. Now, there's a couple of strategies that are important here. I'm wanting to see what is my competition and how am I priced around this. And as you can see here, if I'm at 432, you can see everyone else is significantly higher than me, which again shows that I'm going to be chosen first, even if it's just based on price, let alone that I have got 5 stars, right? They got 477, they got 4.93. They got 4.71, they got 4.2, whereas I've still got 5 stars, right? So all of it is 5 of all my guests. So again, that obviously is important. We want social proofing. What's important though is take a look to see that this is showing that there is a discount, right? In the other ones, they're just showing a price with no discount. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to share that with you now as well. So it basically means that there they say, wow, there's reduced fees and there's, right? Which really again comes back to there being a really, this is going to be an incredibly good deal. Now, what is relevant to the pandemic is that at this moment, we are putting in place a 24-hour buffer between the bookings so that in the chance of any COVID infection and any residue, besides it being a thorough clean and sterilization of the whole unit, we're also putting in a 24-hour buffer, which means a whole extra day. So if someone books for one night, it therefore means that they're actually kind of taking 2 nights, right? Because it's the day that they're there and then a day gap, and then the next day someone can actually do their booking, which is incredibly cost inefficient. It's a high cost. It basically means that we're looking at least a drop of 50 to 40% occupation rate just off the bat, right? So in my case, I'm wanting to make it more attractive that someone stays for longer. So what I've done is I set a rule in place that says that if you stay for one night, you're going to pay the same amount. But if you're staying for 2 or more nights, and for each increasing night, the discount gets higher, then that is what it's going to show. Here is a standard price, and this is the lower price. So take this, for example. If I go and say I'm just wanting to choose one night, right? Let's see what happens there. Now, firstly, you can see that I've come up number 1 again in that other date, right? But you can see here it is coming up to the set price that's there. And that just shows the discount's not there. If I'm going for 3 nights, right? Let's make that there. Put that in place. Here again, I come up first, but take a look here. There's an even greater discount for 3 nights. So these you can set in your rule pricing, so it really encourages longer stays, right? And that is going to be absolutely important because I want to do that, which means if someone's coming for 1 night, I'll still host you, but I want it to be higher. But if you're planning for 2 or 3, the discount is even more. And as you can see here, it is significantly cheaper than my competitors, sometimes by 1,000 Rand. Or if I'm looking, it actually is. It's about 1,000 Rand difference, which means, of course, I'm going to be booked. Now, you might go and say, well, that's not really a good business. Well, at this stage in the pandemic, the thing that I'm most wanting to do is make sure that all my costs are covered. So what I've done is I've gone back and I've actually, in this apartment, this is a rent to rent. So I've done rental arbitrage. I'm renting it from a landlord and then I'm subletting Airbnb. It's all legit. It's all legal. It's all in the lease. It's all okay with the body corporate. But what I've done is I've gone and said that due to this implementation of the 24-hour wait, we're actually taking a bit of a hit. And because we've actually been such great tenants to this landlord for the past 4 years, she's very willing to make an accommodation because she hasn't had to worry about maintenance. She hasn't had to worry about vacancy. We've looked after it incredibly well. And we've been great landlords that have always paid, or great guests, tenants that have always paid. So she says that she would, well, I asked her to negotiate the price down of our normal rental. Then what I did is I said, okay, whatever the rental is, let's say the rent is 9,000 Rand. You're then saying I have 9,000 and I'm going to assume that I'm only going to have maybe 20 nights bookings because on the other in-between dates, I have to actually keep it vacant of the in-between space. And if I'm finding out what is my base night rate, and that's what I'm going to basically make it at, because I want to make sure that I'm just covering all my costs for now. And plus, we're in the low season. This is winter in Cape Town. Not many people travel for any other reason than business. So I just want to make sure this ticks over, that all my costs are covered, because I know that the 4 months, 5 months of the high season is when everything just changes. And literally, these rates are quadrupled. We can be getting 2,000 Rand a night as opposed to just 430 Rand. And that's what I'm positioning it at. And in this way, I'm actually attracting that traffic and attracting the people to come and book. As you can see, we're typing in, other dates. Even if I look at, let's take a look and see 29th to the 30th. Actually, that won't happen. Oh, it actually did come up there. I thought I'd booked it out. But there we go. 29th to the 30th. It's all still me coming up first, even though we're checking at Bloberg. And of course, as you can see, there's a lot of competition around. Even if I zoom out, we're still going to be getting a lot of competition in that area. There we go. Still showing even further down now in the different scenarios. And as you can see, my pricing is really spot on and is doing very well, very competitive. These other places are not on the beach. They're not as close. They're not as great. And that's just showing again how successful these strategies are in coming up first and, of course, in getting those bookings. If you just want to look at what I'm actually doing, that's also attractive, or getting the traction in and the traction rate. As you can see here, I'm showing that we're getting that the place is getting sterilized. So I'm showing that there's thorough cleaning. But take a look here as well. I've said here, book for more than one night and even more discounts apply. So I know that people are triggered by price. So although my title says 50% reduced rates for short and long stays, straight away I'm saying that if you stay for more than one night, even more discounts apply. So it's going to be even more attractive for people. And that's really significantly what's going to make a massive difference. It states there about the 24-hour between bookings, etc., etc. And again, this just really makes a massive difference and makes this an absolute winner. And of course, all the strategies that we're implementing here, which is in my advanced course, is really making a massive difference. I mean, who would not like to come up first in a listing every time, even if you change the dates? Who would not like to show that there's those discounts, right? Like I've already mentioned, you put 2 dates in there and it shows that you get a significant discount. I mean, how great, there it is, shows that discounted price. It says there again, this is a rare find. Robin's Place is usually booked. So all these strategies is what just gives you the absolute advantage over your competition. And like I said, all covered in the advanced course. So there we go. This is how we manage. I thought this would be a great opportunity for you just to see how things can evolve, how we can use strategies to actually make ourselves more marketable, and of course, get our bookings higher. Remember that I'm not interested in average bookings. I want to be fully booked and totally dominate. And that is exactly what we're doing here. So it's really great to see that the proof is in the results. You can see, of course, we're building that traction in spite of the pandemic. We're still getting the reviews, whereas all the other Airbnb hosts are saying, oh, we can't do business. This isn't right. What's going on? And just to reiterate, this is only for business people. Probably about for every one business person traveling that I can accept, 4 others are just trying for leisure. So let me just share with you an example here of someone who had inquired, right? And as I said, I get about 4 of them for every business. Here he goes. He's saying, hey, and this was July the 13th. So 3 days ago, he says, hey, Robin, hope you're good. I want to know if you have these dates because I want to obviously come and book. And I said, yes, sure you can, but they need to be under the level 3 criteria. And he says, no, sorry, it is just for private travel. So there you can see that this is legit, right? I'm not saying that I'm tweaking my numbers. I'm not trying to prove to you that this is not the case. I'm having to turn away at least 4 people for every 1 person that I can book. So you can imagine that once all of this has resolved itself, you can imagine how well these strategies are going to work and how dominant we're going to be in all of our Airbnb listings. So apply the strategies and you're going to be a winner. Proof is in the results.